We're kicking off today with NXT Roadblock, which saw a huge winner-takes-all match between Women's Champion Giulia and North American Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer. Heading into the match, there were reports that Giulia was dealing with some injuries, adding an intriguing twist to their match, which headlined the show. Mike Rome gave the bout a big fight feel with his pre-match introductions, and dueling chants for both women showed how both have been accepted by the NXT crowd since arriving in 2024. This was a back-and-forth showdown that lived up to the hype as one of NXT's biggest women's matches, and after a series of kicks and her second SBD, Vaquer got the win to claim the gold. Roadblock went off the air with Vaquer celebrating with her 2 titles as the confetti fell down around her, and while this was the result many expected, both women made the match work. Having Vaquer get the win certainly shows WWE's faith in her, as the company could have used a DQ or outside interference to keep the status quo and keep the gold on Giulia until she recovers. One does have to wonder if the result would have been different had Giulia not been dealing with injuries, but now the Beautiful Madness will have time to get back to 100%. Commentary noted that Vaquer is the first double champion to hold 2 singles titles in the women's division since Becky Lynch in 2019, a fun nod to the man who fans are itching to see. The question now is what's next for Vaquer and whether she'll be expected to defend both titles at Stand and Deliver, NXT's next major event set to take place this April. Do you think having Vaquer win was the right call, or should WWE have found a way to keep gold on Giulia despite her injuries? Share your thoughts down in the comments section below. With the TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line, the Hardy Boyz battled Fraxiom in one of the biggest matches to date of the WWE TNA partnership. The match kicked off Roadblock, giving fans an exciting start to the show, and Fraxiom were able to take control of things with some dives to the outside as the show went into commercial. Both teams held nothing back, with Axiom kicking out of a plot twist from the Hardys, and then Axiom trapped Jeff Hardy on the top rope so he could hit a Spanish fly. That was followed by a Phoenix splash from Frazier, but the NXT team only got a 2, and there was a spot where Axiom went for a top rope dropkick, but hit Frazier by accident. In the past, WWE has questioned whether Fraxiom are fine, but after multiple teases of a split that have all come to nothing, we can't see this one move being what breaks up the pair. The finish saw Matt hit Axiom with a twist of fate, but Jeff hit a swanton bomb on Nathan Frazier to get the win in a red-hot way to kick off Roadblock that helped set the tone for the show. This was nothing short of a dream match featuring 2 of wrestling's most popular teams, and the crowd in MSG gave a huge pop for the entrance of the Hardy Boyz, as expected. If there is a critique, it's that the result was predictable, as with only the TNA titles being on the line, it was clear that a title change was unlikely inside the Garden. Nevertheless, this was a great match and potentially not the last between these teams if the comments by the Hardys is anything to go by. Speaking backstage, Jeff praised Fraxiom as the fastest team they've ever wrestled, before questioning if this win means they have a shot at the NXT tag titles in the future. Matt said it was unfortunate that the NXT gold wasn't on the line and hopes that they get an opportunity to win those tag titles the next time they face Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Would you like to see Fraxiom and the Hardys back in the ring after Roadblock? Should the NXT tag titles change hands if they do? Let us know your thoughts below. During the TNA World Tag Title match, Jordynne Grace was seen preparing for her match with Roxanne Perez and showed she was ready with some one-armed push-ups. While this was the match with arguably the least build at Roadblock, that didn't stop either woman from having a great performance, and it was Grace who got the victory. The question now is whether this was Perez's swansong, or will she hang around for NXT Stand and Deliver before making a permanent move to the main roster? Perez's role at the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber PLEs certainly show her call-up is coming soon, and we hopefully get a clearer picture on her future soon enough. As confirmed in the build-up to Roadblock, the mentors of WWE LFG were at the show, and in a backstage segment, Mickie James praised Jada Parker. The big moment would come later as The Undertaker shared a moment with Femi, who told the NXT champion to defend his yard in the upcoming match. On social media, many compared this segment to the 2002 segment between The Undertaker and John Cena, where the American Badass gave kudos to the then SmackDown rookie. With an endorsement like this, it's hard not to see Femi as the future of WWE and perhaps a WrestleMania headliner in a few years from now. Femi has proven to be a talent that can excel in the ring and on the mic, and with a nod from The Undertaker, big things can be expected for the man who already holds the NXT Championship. After this endorsement by the dead man, Femi went to war with TNA X Division champion Moose, though the match was only for Femi's NXT Championship. The fans in New York City let out a big cheer just after the bell sounded, setting the tone for the match that had been anticipated for a very long time. The pair didn't hold back in their strikes, and returning from a commercial break, Moose was able to take control by throwing Femi into the ring steps. In the ring, Moose nailed Femi with a big boot, but Oba countered his top rope dive with an uppercut, and back outside the ring, Femi sent Moose through the announce table. The NXT champion champion hit fall from grace for the clean win in a match that delivered on the physicality fans had been expecting between the two. Much like the TNA World Tag Title contest, the fact that only one title was on the line made this predictable, as in Femi vs. Moose, TNA could take the loss without losing one of its titles. Between the match, the crowd reaction, and the segment with The Undertaker, this was a defining night for Oba Femi, who will now be ready to take on another challenger for the NXT title. Next week, John Cena will be on Raw in his first appearance since turning heel, and fans are eager to hear what the WWE icon has to say about what went down at Elimination Chamber. Cena refused to say anything during the post-PLE press conference, further building anticipation, but those ready to hear him speak next week may be disappointed. On the Wrestling Informer podcast, it was revealed that while many expect the upcoming Raw to be where Cena addresses his heel turn, that may not be the case due to the show's location. Sources within WWE said that the company may be reluctant to have him speak and address his turn in Brussels, Belgium, a country where English is not the national first language. The fear is that Cena's explanation will not receive the proper reaction it should in Belgium, a country which uses Dutch, French, and German as their official languages. WWE is reportedly so concerned about the explanation not getting the right reaction that they floated around the idea of R-Truth interrupting Cena before he has a chance to speak. The belief is that Cena could destroy R-Truth and possibly even bust open the man who considers John his childhood hero, further solidifying John's role as a villain. As for the actual explanation, that'd likely be kept until the March 24th episode of Raw that'll take place in the OVO Hydro in Glasgow, Scotland. As always, plans are subject to change and fans can't count out WWE having the Cena explanation in Brussels, but we'll only know for certain once the show goes live. Do you think Cena should explain himself in Brussels, or is it better to wait a bit longer to ensure his promo gets the reaction it deserves? Give your thoughts down in the comments. In late 2023, it was revealed that CJ Perry and Miro had separated after first tying the knot in 2016, but now the couple is officially back together. Perry and Miro told TMZ Sports that the reconciliation began in June of last year when Miro returned from his native Bulgaria and the two began conversing again. What started off as casual chatter turned into something much more, and in December, Perry traveled to Bulgaria to spend the holidays with the former WWE US champion. It was a few weeks ago that the couple renewed their wedding vows in an intimate ceremony at a Los Angeles church, and while they separated, the couple never actually divorced. Before splitting, the pair had last been seen together in AEW as part of the World's End 2023 event, where Perry helped Miro defeat Andrade, turning on El Idolo in the process. Perry would leave AEW in April 2024, while it's been reported that Miro was among those cut from the company earlier this year, raising questions about what's next. Are you pleased to see Perry and Miro back together? Would you like to see the couple return to WWE one day now that Triple H is running creative? Let us know in the comments. In pro wrestling, a good name can often be vital when it comes to getting a character over, and now one of WWE's very top stars has undergone a name change. For weeks, eagle-eyed fans have noticed that the entrance graphic for Seth Rollins no longer has "freakin'" in it, leading to talk that WWE was dropping that part of his moniker. Now WWE has made it official, as the official roster page now lists him as Seth Rollins, with the "freakin'" term nowhere to be seen. The term was added to Rollins' name in 2022 after he turned face, and on an episode of the Insight podcast, Rollins shared that the idea came from Vince McMahon. Rollins' belief was that McMahon was just bored with the Seth Rollins name, hence why "freakin'" was added to it, and Seth said the change sold a lot of t-shirts. Now this marker of McMahon is a thing of the past, and are you pleased that he's just Seth Rollins again? Or do you think the name added something special to the Raw superstar? Back to NXT Roadblock now, as the family were backstage and were in a sour mood after Tony D'Angelo lost the NXT North American title to Shawn Spears last week. While Stacks blamed himself, D'Angelo tried to calm him down, but it'll certainly be interesting to see where this angle goes next. Some have predicted that D'Angelo could be called up soon, while some believe the Don could be about to gift Stacks some cement Reeboks, and we'll just have to wait and see to find out. In another backstage segment, Fallon Henley demanded that Ava grant her a rematch for the Women's North American title before Ricky Saints showed up at the scene. JC Jane told Saints that he doesn't belong in NXT, and after Fatal Influence left, Saints spoke with Ava, and a match was booked for next week between Saints and Ridge Holland. Once again, Ethan Page showed up and shared the screen with Saints, teasing that the former NXT champion will be the first proper feud in the Silver brand for his fellow AEW alum. In the ring, Paige and Javon Evans battled in a street fight in a match that perfectly encapsulated the feeling that the two wanted to destroy one another. Paige and Evans ditched their usual wrestling attires for more grounded looks, selling the street fight aspect of the match, but there was still plenty of incredible wrestling offense. Evans' dive over the top rope, which saw him hit Paige, sending both men over the announce table, was nothing short of extraordinary and showed the immense talent of the young OG. The match would finish with Paige's face trapped in a chair and Evans hitting a cutter to get the win, though his celebration would prove to be short-lived. After the match, the Young OG was attacked by the new masked group in their first in-ring role since their arrival last month at NXT Vengeance Day. Since that event, the group has been part of backstage assaults, and hopefully with the group making themselves known in the ring again, fans get some explanation about the faction. The group have yet to give themselves a name or explain the reasoning for attacking who they're taking on, and hopefully those come ahead of some role at Stand to Deliver in April. Eddie Thorpe was at Roadblock and received heavy boos from the fans in New York City, which effectively showed how far Thorpe has come in his heel role. The boos Thorpe received contrasted nicely with the massive response Trick Williams received when he ambushed Thorpe ahead of their NXT Underground match for next week's show. Fresh off his NXT North American title victory, Shawn Spears spoke with his allies and revealed that the group is now known as the Culling. Fans spoke in a way that almost felt cult-like and seemed reminiscent of the early days of the Wyatt family, or perhaps even the Wyatt Six. Spears spoke about the group being comprised of 4 people working toward one thing, though stopped short of giving a specific goal beyond his North American title win. The Culling will compete next week as Izzy Dame, Brooks Jensen, and Nico Vance will take on Stax, Luca Crucifino, and Adriana Rizzo of the family. Spears told his allies to take the hearts of their opponents, and while we imagine this won't be a literal act, it'll be interesting to see how the Culling fares in 6-person tag team action. More from next week's NXT as the WWE Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green will be in action to put her title on the line against Sol Ruca. As we previously shared, Ruca pinning Green last week seemingly put her in line for a title shot, and do you think Ruca should shock the world and win the title? Let us know down below. And that was NXT Roadblock, and what did you make of the show? Did the crossover matches between WWE and TNA deliver? Was Vaquer's win the right call? Let us know your thoughts on the show in the comments section below. At AEW Revolution, Jon Moxley retained the AEW World Championship against Cope in a match that, though fine, some fans believe didn't reach what it could have been. Some believe that the brutal war between Toni Storm and Mariah May should have closed out the pay-per-view instead, and now we know more about AEW's original plans. On Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez shared that AEW's original plan for the world title match included more wrestlers getting involved, as well as some surprise returns. Alvarez didn't state exactly who was supposed to be involved, but clearly those plans were changed by the time the match got started. On the show, Alvarez also addressed speculation from fans that Cope was supposed to win the match, as the Canadian placed his hand on Moxley's chest before being pulled away. Alvarez said that this isn't the case, and he's 99% sure Moxley was always going to retain and face Swerve Strickland at AEW's next pay-per-view. The Revolution main event may not have delivered as some fans had hoped, but Moxley's win was not a last-minute change, as the show went off the air exactly as planned. On this week's Raw, Logan Paul ripped an I Hate Logan Paul shirt off a fan in a shocking act from the former US champion, but as you may expect, this wasn't any ordinary fan. On Twitter, indie wrestler Mike Ditello confirmed that he was on the receiving end of Paul's anger and shared a clip of the segment on his account. Ditello competes for New York's Warriors of Wrestling and has been competing since 2021, and in addition to his current reign as a tag champion, is a former WOW No Limits champion. WWE often uses indie wrestlers as plants for segments, and Ditello has now added his name to this tradition with his collision with the Maverick on Raw. We've got some concerning news regarding former WCW star Brian Knobbs, who was rushed to the hospital late on Tuesday with critically low blood levels. Knobbs' Facebook page shared that the former tag team champion had to undergo an emergency blood transfusion, and he is still not feeling well. A GoFundMe has been created for Knobbs, who has been struggling financially for some time now, owing the damages caused by Hurricane Milton. A life-threatening foot infection has also stopped Knobbs from making scheduled wrestling appearances, which have only added to his financial concerns. This is a worrying time for Brian Knobbs, and our thoughts are with him at this scary time as we hope for a full and speedy recovery for the wrestler. And we're ending with Becky Lynch, who despite reportedly agreeing to re-sign with WWE, has yet to appear on screen for the promotion. According to the Wrestling Informer, the final details about Lynch's new deal are being finalized, and things were delayed because she and Seth Rollins recently signed with a new agent. The pair signed with Adventure Media in January 2025, and the report adds that Lynch is hoping for more flexibility to pursue non-WWE projects under a new contract. While these matters continue to be sorted out, Lynch's return to WWE TV remains up in the air, making a return in time for a WrestleMania feud increasingly unlikely. While Lynch is still expected to return, there's still no word on when her TV return will come about, as fans continue to wait for the man to come around.